Hello Douglas Young and Old, my name is Yugioh and welcome to a new video. So on YouTube, you've seen a lot of archetypal explain videos on, some of the new support that comes out for everything. And obviously for Yu-Gi-Oh itself, Pokemon, whatever it is. And I thought, well, how about I shoot my shot in the ring and have a go with some, rush duel archetypes, as, rush duels isn't really talked about much, unless it's dueling's related. So I give you Rush Duels Archetypes as a new series for my channel. And I think the first archetype I am going to explain is the, Seven's Road archetype. The main key starting point for the series as its own true individuality. I'm going to say this now as a clarification. In Rush Duels, there is no archetypes whatsoever. However, this is going to be Rush Duels Archetypes Explained, because I'm going to group cards that don't seem like that connect together all into one archetype and claim it as a collective archetype. So for this one is Seven's Road. So for the Seven's Road archetype, there are quite a few people that play it, and it was first introduced in the starter deck Yugioh cut through Seven's Road as the cover card to start the entire series off, as well as the other starter pack for Luke, which I think was Starter Duke Luke, Raging Stars, Strike Dragon, something like that. In the series, Yugioh is its manga counterpart in both Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s and Go Rush. Both use these archetypes, as well as the antagonist of it, Otis. As well as in the manga, in the separate Rush Duel Life Point manga, is used by Taiyo's Asuba. And of course, Yugioh in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, as when she first appeared. Then she moved on to a different archetype, which I hope to explain in the future. So, for the rules of this to be classed as in the Seven's Road archetype, there are some ground rules. So, they must work with Seven Road's Magician, i.e. the main boss monster. The main deck monsters must be between level 1 to 7. I know, right, because it's 7s. They must be related to the Seven Roads archetype in any way. They must have road in their name, but that's not a true clarification. It's just an extra rule I added on for some stuff. Anime cards are included in this list as well, because I'm not going to separate everything because that's going to take forever. They must work with spellcasters. That is one very important key to be classed for Seven Road for this archetype. And all fusion monster materials are going to be covered. However, not all fusion materials will be covered. Materials will be covered in this video. The main reason why I'm declaring this now is because there are monsters from different archetypes that kind of bound into this. However, I'm not going to include it in this. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started with the main deck monsters. First, we have Swordsman of Roadstar, a level 3 light attribute warrior type normal monster with 1200 attack and 500 defense. Its flavor text is a swordsman of the shooting stars with unknown power, capable of carving and opening a miraculous path. This monster was first introduced in episode 67, and this is why I said fusion materials will be included. However, non-fusion cards don't fit the archetype itself, will not be included. This is the main reason why, because this is one of many fusion material for the archetype that has been used with the Ace monster, or just outward. But yes, this was used in a duel between Yugioh and the Luke man, I guess, but I call him Luke still. So we're actually going to get to the actual spellcaster type monsters. So first we're going to start with the Seven's Road Wiz, a level 1 dark attribute spellcaster type monster with 1000 attack and 0 defense. Its requirement for its effect is to send the top card, send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Change the opponent's attack of one face-up levels 8 or lower monster on the field with the same attack as this card to 0. Then if you have Seven Roads Magician in your graveyard, you draw a card. Which is kind of box standard. I mean, it's not the best. It's more like tribute fodder this one is. But if you're able to somehow pull it off, you pull it off. And I mean, it probably only works for like the level 1, 2, and 3 monsters, because I don't think there's any level 4 monster has less than 1,200 attack from my memory. So yeah, sorry, but you're kind of useless. This monster, however, was first shown in season 2 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, as its first appearance was in episode 53. Not even used by Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, used by another character called, well, I think the anime called him Chameleon Boy, wherever it was. Either way, he basically borrowed Yuga's deck. So next we have Seven's Road Mage, a level 2 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster with 800 attack and 800 defense. Its requirement for its effect is to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Target one face-up level send a higher monster in your opponent's field. It loses 400 attack until the end of this turn. Then if it loses, then it loses additional attack equal to the number of different type spellcaster monsters in your graveyard times 100 until the end of this turn. If you have Seven Roads Magician face up on the field. So again, this is, I would say this is more of the average one, as this one could deal a lot with maximum monsters, and that is kind of the weakness of Seven Road is maximum monsters, because of how low their attack stats are, as well as the defensive stats. They kind of get beaten over quite easily. So Seven Roads Mage, though it doesn't look powerful on surface, it is quite good for what it can do, especially obviously when things get pushed to a point where you can't figure your way out. So it's pretty good. This monster was shown in episode 13 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush anime, and well, basically it was used against Roman Oda, whatever his name, not Oda, I can't remember his name now. It is Roman though. You've probably seen me get him in Go Rush in the Duel Links. So yeah. Next we have Seven's Road Enchanter, a level 3 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster, effect monster with 1,200 attack and 100 defense. The requirement of this effect is to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Return one non-level 3 spellcast type monster on either place side of the field to the hand. Then if you have 7 roads, if you have 7 roads in your hand by this effect, you draw a card. So in other words, this is a good, well, I guess a good way to remove other spellcast type monsters, but again, it's kind of just tribute fodder for anything. This monster's first appearance, however, was in, well, it was in episode 79, but it didn't have its technical first appearance as a, well, story card form, I guess. However, its first actual play appearance is in episode 79 against Yugioh. Don't ask. And this monster wasn't even summoned by Yugioh, to be fair. This was summoned by Luke, as Luke took over the duel. Next we have Seven Road Sorcerer, a level 4 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster with 1,300 attack and 100 defense. The requirement of this effect is to send 3 face-up monsters on your field to the graveyard. Special summon 1 level 7 low spellcast type monster from your graveyard face up to your field. Then if you special summon 7 Road Magician by this effect, you can special 1 7 Rogue Witch from your graveyard face up to the field. I'm not gonna lie, for this monster in general, because it can work with any face-up 3 monsters, you can mix whatever you want with it, and it will still be good, because it recurs back 7 Roads Magician and the Witch for one of your more powerful fusions. And to be fair, it's not too bad. Its first appearance was in episode 84 of the anime, so yeah, this monster was the latest 7 Roads, and I think the final 7 Roads monster to appear. And it was used in a duel against Roma again, but Roman actually won this time. Roa, sorry. Because, obviously, a very powerful effect, but not enough combatants to keep the game state going. Especially if your opponent has the turn after to screw you over. Next we have Seven Roads Warlock, a level 5 Dark Attribute Spellcast type effect monster with 1,100 attack and 1,700 defense. The requirement of this effect is to send 1 trap card from your hand to the graveyard. Add 1 level 7 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster from your graveyard to the hand. Then if you add 7 Roads Magician to your hand by this effect, you can add 1 level 6 or higher spellcast type monster from your graveyard to the hand. So again, this is one of your more pieces to recover back your Magician and Witch. And to be fair, that isn't bad for what it is, as you can just send 1 trap card that probably is dead in your hand and then get your recovery pieces. And for only being 1 tribute as well, it's not too bad, and it's the only 7 Roads monster that has a defense higher than its attack, surprisingly. This monster's first appearance was in episode 43 against round 2 against Otis with Yugioh, and he did summon this monster to get over the Summon Skull. Yes, I'm not joking either, because Summon Skull has some nutty support in there. Next we have Seven Roads Witch, a level 6 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster with a 4600 attack and 1000 defense. The requirement for its effect is to send one card from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon one level 7 or higher spellcast type monster from your hand to the field. Then, if you special summon Seven Road Magician by this effect, this card gains 400 attack till the end of this turn. This card, I would basically just say it's Dark Magician Girl. I think everyone can agree with that. No more questions. This monster first appeared in episode 4, basically very early on, establishing that these two monsters are kind of basically Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, but in Rush Duel format. However, funny enough, Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl are in Rush Duel as well, so competition. But yeah, this is basically, other than Severo's Magician, Yugioh's most other summoned monster to the field. That's even beaten like his triple Karibots that he has. Next we have Seven Roads Magician, a level 7 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster with 2100 attack, 1500 defense. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the number of different attributes in your graveyard times 300 until the end of this turn. As you know, I've probably used this a lot in Rush Duels, in Duel Links Rush Duels, and this monster first appeared in episode 1, just beating over Blue Eyes White Dragon as you casually do. Blue Eyes players can still never beat anything. Can't even beat a simple spellcaster. I can't really be saying that. Especially because of, yeah, Horace and Branded. Anyway, let's move on to the next section because, you know, we've got to keep moving into this Seven Rose Magician. Why are you still here? Brandon, what did you... Oh, okay. So, I guess I have to talk about this one. Seven's Fear Magician, a level 7 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster with 2100 attack and 1500 defense. The requirement for its effect is to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card becomes Seven Road Magician this turn. Then you can target one face-up monster your opponent's field, loses attack equal to the number of different attributes in your graveyard times 300 until the end of this turn. Honestly, I like this monster because 1, its design, and 2, the complete opposite effect of Seven Road Magician. Yes, it can still be classed as Seven Road Magician, however, instead of it gaining a boost, it makes your opponent's monster lose a boost. This is actually the most recent, I guess, Seven's Road card in class, because of it only being literally released on episode 100, which came out, well, this passing Sunday. Sunday the 10th it came out. This monster came out in the anime basically, which is kind of interesting of how they obviously made the card before its first anime appearance, which is kind of funny. So yeah, we've got to keep moving because there is one more monster after this. Next we have Strong Boy Seven's Road, a level 7 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster with 2100 attack and 1500 defense. The requirement of this effect is send the if you have a monster to your graveyard, send top card of your deck to the graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the number of different attributes to your graveyard times 200 until the end of this turn. Then if your opponent has 700 or less, 700 or lower life points, inflict 700 million damage to your opponent. Yeah, this is why I don't understand what this card... I know how this card works, because it's very basic, but like, why 700 million? I think this card is also not playable, technically, but if it kind of is, Jesus Christ. So I don't think I've ever seen this monster see any competitive play. None whatsoever. Anyway, let's get moving on. So we'll move to the extra deck monsters. So first we have 7 Gies, the Magical Dragon Knight, a level 10 Dark Attribute Magical Knight, a fusion monster. with 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense. The requirement for this effect is if your opponent has, I don't know why I say gas, if your opponent has a level 7 or higher monster on the field, send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. The multi-choice effect of this card is this turn, this card gains attack equal to the number of different type monsters in your graveyard times 700, and it can make 2 attacks on monsters this turn, or destroy or face a card on the field. So it's either a Black Rose Dragon with its second choice effect, or just I strike twice. Ba-boom. This monster appeared in the final duel of the season, which basically was a 3-part episode to the one duel. And this is the fusion of both Severan's Magician and Multi-Strike Dragon Dragius. Again, this is why I said I'm not putting all fusion material in this unless it specifically relates to Severan's Road. This being a prime example of it. This monster itself, in the competitive scene, has seen a lot of play because of one very annoying spell card that we are going to get into in just a bit. The reason why it's called a magical knight type monster and not spellcaster or dragon is because in Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush, in Rush Duels, when you activate fusion or polymerization and fuse 2 monsters the same, so in some instances you can create a combined type, basically like cyborg, so machine any type of monster, magical knight, so dragons, spellcasters, and warriors. Omega psychic, so 2 psychics together, or 2 psychics just make a psychic. Don't know why. A Celtic warrior, so a fairy and a warrior, and a high dragon, which is combined just 2 dragons, and it's the same principle, just fusing 2 dragons to make a dragon. So yeah, and they do. I know in Rush Duels they do have one specific fusion that is combined of both a warrior and a beast to make a beast warrior, which is already an existing type, so fun fact. So next we have 7 Chariot of the Magical Knight, a level 9 Dark Attribute spellcast Magical Knight fusion monster with 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense. Its multi-choice effect is this card gains. So the requirement for this effect is to gain 200. Send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Multiple choice effect. This card gains attack equals the number of cards in your both player's spell and trap zone type 500 until the end of its turn. This card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also, you can destroy face-up monsters your opponent's field up to the number of cards in spell and trap zone. So 3 cards in spell and trap zone, pot 3 monsters. The fusion material of this is Severan's Magician, Magrum Beast Gear Prod. And I didn't add this fusion in because, well, the fusion material, because to be fair, it kind of doesn't fit the theme, so sorry, buddy. You just didn't make the cut, but your fusion is mentioned, so you got some sort of a mention. Master of Severan's Road, a level 9 Dark Attribute spellcast type fusion monster with 3,000 attack, 2,100 defense. Its continuous effect is this card gains attack equal to the number of Dark Attribute spellcast type monsters with different names in your graveyard times 300. If you have 7 or more Dark Attribute spellcast type monsters in your graveyard, this card can inflict piercing battle damage if the defense is obviously lower. If this card attacks the defense position monster. Its fusion material is Severan's Magician and Severan's Witch. This is why Sorcerer has the specific requirement of summoning these both back, as obviously it makes this, and it was shown in the same episode, which is episode 84. So yeah, fun fact. However, what's not fun is that this monster basically, if you only have the 7 roads monsters all together, it only gains a 2,100 attack beat at 3,000, so it's at 5,100. Which isn't bad for a fusion, but you have to do a lot of stuff to get to this monster. And in my opinion, it's not worth it. So next we have 7th Paladin, a level 9 Dark Attribute Magical Knight fusion monster with 2,900 attack and 2,400 defense. The requirement for its effect is to send the top card of your deck to the graveyard. The multi-choice effect of this card is this card gains attack equal to the number of different attributes in your graveyards times 400 till the end of the turn, or shuffle a monster in your graveyard into the deck and draw a card. Its fusion material is Severan's Magician and Swordsman of Roadstar. Now, notice how I said graveyards in the graveyards. Not just your graveyard, your opponent's as well. This monster first appeared in the rush duel against the Luke Man, which is kind of funny. And to be fair, it was kind of a perfect counter to the Luke Man. So I like how the protagonists balance off each other. And what's funny is Seven's Paladin is kind of a callback to Dark Paladin. It's just got the same attack and defense stats, but just kind of a worse effect. I'm not gonna lie. But for rush doors, it's kind of perfect, so I can't complain. Next we have Transunit Road Rhynak. A level 9 light attribute galaxy type fusion monster with 2900 attack and 2000 defense. The requirement for its effect is to send the top card of deck to the graveyard. Special summon one galaxy normal monster from your graveyard face to the field. Then, if you make all face of galaxy monsters you field gain attack equal to the number of attributes in both players' graveyard times 300 until the end of this turn. Yeah. So for this basically effect, it's pretty good against other, it's pretty good with galaxy monsters, I hate to say it. And its fusion material is Transunit Raynak and Severus Magician. This appeared in Go Rush because galaxy monsters existed by then, and was the second fusion of the series. So yeah, interesting. And last with fusions, we have Magicians of Dark Sevens. A level 9 Dark Attribute Spellcast type monster, fusion monster with 2800 attack, 2600 defense. The continuous effect of this card is this card gains attack equal to number of Dark Attribute Spellcast type monsters graveyard times 300. You take no damage from cards in battle involving other monsters. Yeah. In other words, this is just a giant beat stick that protects everything else. And the fusion material is Severus Magician. I don't know why it says Severus Magic. Sorry. And Darkness Zero Rogue. So yeah, this is kind of an interesting fusion. And hence why, again, the fusion material does not exist unless it specifically mentions Road. Or, you know, the name Road makes sense for the fusion. Now we're moving on to the spell and trap cards for the series of cards. So first we have Road Magic Tempest. A normal spell card with the requirement: if you have this level summon a high spellcast type monster on the field, send one wind attribute monster from your hand to the graveyard, change the battle position of three monsters to your opponent's field, so attack to defense, defense to attack. So I'm going to say this now. I'm not going to say the requirement for this because the next other 5, as they're basically road magic, and then whatever attribute is. So Tempest, Wind, and then etc. etc. All I'll say is sending X attribute to grave, and then explain its effect, because I'm not going to say the requirement altogether. So next we have Road Magic Tectonic Shift. A normal spell card with the requirement of sending an earth monster from hand to grave. The attack of one face of attack monster your opponent's field loses attack equal to the attack of the highest attack monster in your graveyard until the end of this turn. So with this one, basically, it's just basically a power decrease for if you have a 3000 or 2500 beat stick in grave. So yeah, it's a good way to counter. And the reason why these road magic can be included in this, by the way, is because, well, road is in the name. And they all have Severus Magician on their card as artwork, as a hint to what this monster series is about, especially the lore inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. So let's continue with Road Magic Uplifting. The requirement is sending a light attribute monster from hand to grave. This being a normal spell. The effect is to target one face-up monster on your field, gain attack equal to the attack of one level face-up level 8 or lower monster with the lowest attack on your opponent's field until the end of this turn. So it being, I guess, as you can say, consider a weak power boost is not correct in any word, any sense of mind. As if your opponent has only a 3000 attack monster and you have some Rose Magician, that's gaining 3000, then its own boost, and then it's just swing. So obviously the downside is you have to send a card from hand to graveyard. So it kind of defeats the purpose, but yeah. Next we have Road Magic Explosion. So the requirement is send in a fire attribute monster from hand to graveyard, inflict damage to opponent equal to the number of cards on their field times 400. So it being kind of, I guess you could say, basically a going second card. But to be fair, you saying it's a going second card, I say it's pretty funny just for, burn. And again, I love the artwork of it because look at the fucking solar flare that he's about to fucking... Literally, look at the fucking spirit bomb he's about to throw down on someone. I wonder who's his enemy in this fight. Next we have Road Magic Flowback. A normal spell with the requirement of sending a water monster, attribute monster from hand to grave. Return one monster on your opponent's field in his hand. So it having the ability to not target and just return a card is kind of funny. Because to be fair, if this was actually an existing card, I would say it'd be very busted and probably banned as quickly as possible. Because let's be fair, summoning a level 7 or higher spellcaster in normal duels, in Master Rule format, is kind of funny. Because just easy summon, like, I guess, Dark Magician or even the Master Magician. And then just activate this, say, screw you, Baron. I don't know what I'm saying. Next we have the final one, which is Road Magic Dark Knight. A normal spell with the requirement of sending one dark monster attribute monster from your hand to graveyard. Destroy one face-up monster to your opponent's field with the effect. So in other words, this is kind of like, I guess, to say, okay, I've had enough of your bullshit. Bang, you're dead. And this was the other first 5 I've obviously said are all used by Yugioh. This is the only road magic that Yugioh does not use. Otis uses this road magic because obviously his Darkness road Seven's road fuse deck. So yeah. Next we have Seven's Twins Burst. A normal spell with the requirement of only the only monsters on your field are face up a 7 road magician and witch. The 7 road magician on your field gains attack equal to the number of 7 road witches attack until the end of this turn. So again, this is just a correlation of Twin Burst Magic, I think it's called. Basically, Dark Magician gains the attack of Dark Magician Girl. So hopefully you summon 7 Road Magician by the effect of it. Through the effect of 7 Road Witch. So yeah. Next we have Seven's Glory. A normal spell card with the requirement of if you have a face-up light attribute monster in the field, send one level 7 light attribute monster from your hand to the graveyard. A special 1/7 Rose Magician from your hand from your graveyard. Then to your field, increases level by 2 until the end of this turn. So the reason for this is against the Luke command, as Yugioh sent away a light attribute monster. I think it was a Steel Knight Mechalord, Mecha something, which was a machine one, but anyway. And this is where Swordsman of Roadstar was on the field to meet this requirement. Before, obviously, the fusion summon. Which is kind of funny, to be fair. But yeah. Again, this is just a quick bring out a 7 Red Magician, then get it up 2 levels, so half the trap cards can't affect it, basically. So yeah. Next we have Seven's Road Boost, a normal spell card with no requirement. Target one face-up dark attribute spellcaster type monster in your field cannot be destroyed by opponent's trap cards, and it gains attack equal to the number of dark attribute spellcaster type monster in your graveyard times 400. Times 200, sorry. So this card is obviously just an increased boost to 7 Red Magician. Don't matter how many dark attributes spellcaster type monsters in your graveyard, as long as it's, past 200, it's fine. And to be fair, it basically helps your monster get unaffected by trap cards, or being destroyed by traps, which a lot of traps do that in rush duels. Well, I say a lot, but probably like a quarter of them. So yeah, it's a good balance to obviously, 7 roads made weakness. Well, 2 of 7 roads made weakness. Next we have Seven's Wonder Fusion. A normal spell with no requirement. I have wished it did. Effect. Fusion summon by shuffling monsters from your field and or graveyard into your owner's deck. That includes Seven's Road Magician. This one goddamn card has been the reason for a certain deck to exist that 7 Gies, the Magical Dragon Knight, to exist in without any problem. I don't mean any problem, because of this one goddamn card that milling everything in your deck does not matter, called Seven's Wonder Turbo. That one deck is annoying in Rush Duels. This is why this is the only 7th row card that is limited to 2. Semi-limited to 2. I wished it was at 1. Because it would slow the deck down a lot more. And it'd be a lot more, okay, I need to think about what the hell I'm doing now. Not just get rid of everything. Oh, I sent 7's Wonder Fusion, I can just get that back. It's just an annoying card, okay? Give me a break. Seven's Road Presence. A normal spell card is, if your opponent has a face-up level 6 or lower monster in the field, as a requirement for this effect, return one face-up monster on your opponent's field to hand. Then if you have 7's Magician on the field, you can return one face-up monster your opponent controls to the owner's hand. So yeah, again, this is just basically, I'm just going to, keep my 7 Rose Magician on the field for longer. And just get rid of the troublemaker. But obviously, returning to the hand isn't as good as basically going back to deck. It is if you're trying to finish a game. But if it's not, it's kind of a dead card. But this is an exclusive card, so I'm not too bothered. Road Arms 7's Lance. A equip spell with the requirement is if you control another card, a face-up copy of this card in the field, equip it to one face-up 7 Rose Magician on your field. The equipped monster gains attack equal to the number of different attributes in your graveyard times 400, and your opponent cannot destroy this card. This card cannot be destroyed by your opponent. The equipped monster can't be destroyed by your card effects. Simple effect. So in other words, this protects 7 Rose Magician. It gains a 400 boost for 2/4 boost if you have 6 attributes, and then add 1/8 to that. You basically get like over an 8,000 attack point 7 Rose Magician if you don't include other boost. Which is kind of funny. But that's not the only equipped spell that we have for 7 Rose Magician. We have Road Arms Swordbreaker. An equipped spell with the requirement if you control another face-up copy of this card in the field, equip it to one face-up 7 Rose Magician. The equipped monster gains attack equal to the number of equipped spells on the field times 1,000, and it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's trap effects. So yeah, if you control both that and fucking the spear, if you control sword and lancer, you have a 4,400 attack point boosted 7 Rose Magician. If this includes maximum all 6 attributes engraved, and then plus another 1/8 on top of it. From a 2,100 attack point stat. That's kind of busted. So, in general, for 7 Rose Magician, the maximum attack, if you have no attributes engraved, say you've got no attributes engraved, that is basically a 4,100 attack point monster with 2 equipped spells. Which is kind of funny. For traps, we have 7's Road Force, a normal trap with the requirement of if your opponent declares an direct attack, while you have 10 or more level 7 monsters in your graveyard, special summon one 7's Road monster from your graveyard to the field for face-up attack position, return all monsters your opponent's field to the owner's hand. The only reason this 7 Road card exists is because of a final duel for Season 1 against Yugioh versus Luke. And Yugioh in the anime has like a shit ton of level 10s. Level 7 are a shit ton of level 7 monsters, so yeah, that's kind of why it exists. And has loads of level 7s basically in his deck. Same with, I guess, the other characters as well. Well, Luke and Yugioh respectively. As they're the main 2 that duel basically. But its ability to do that is funny, and again, thank God it's only an anime card, so thank God. Next we have 7's Combine. A normal trap with the requirement if your opponent special summons a monster with 2,500 attack, special summon 2 level 7 monsters with the same type as the level 7 monster on your field from your graveyard face up to the field. Then all monsters in your field gain 400 attack and defense until the end of this turn. Well, this probably not seeming like a 7 roads card, but again, has 7 roads magician on it. And I guess you can kind of work it with Dark Magician and I guess another level 7 Dark Magician archetype. So, no complaining there. And I guess it does kind of work for how I understand it. But again, this is only an anime card, so we still don't get it. And the last of the spells and traps is Seven's Road Protection. A normal trap with the requirement of when your opponent normal summons a monster. All dark attribute spellcasts that ones you feel cannot be destroyed by battle, by your opponent's card effects until the end of the turn. Then if you have some magician in your graveyard, change the normal summon monster to a face-up defense position. So again, this is to counter Seven Road's main weakness, but this supports any dark attribute spellcast type monster, so it's kind of basically good for any deck. But if you want the bonus effect, you would run Seven Roads Magician in it, but you would for any dark attribute spellcast type deck anyway. So yeah, so now we've done that, what decks can they work in? All the Seven Roads cards that we've probably just talked about. Well, to be all honest, because of Seven's Wonder Fusion and Seven's Geas in general, Seven's Wonder Turbo, that is all I need to say. Is this one deck. And yes, this is I guess you could say, a carbon copy of a, competitive version of it. With all different attributes, all different types of monsters, monster types, and then just swing for game. This is not a perfect carbon copy, but it is a carbon copy nonetheless. Another way to play Seven Road is obviously through Dark Spellcaster Control, aka Dark Magician. So yeah, even though obviously Dark Magician is not as popular, it's somehow still consistent enough for this kind of matter. And again, Seven Wonder Fusion is unfortunately just a generally good card for Seven's Road. It kind of what it needs, which I really hate to admit. But in other words, just a shit ton of dark attribute spellcast type monsters, or just a shit ton of dark attribute monsters in grave. Lots of Dark Magician support, some Seven Road support, you're sorted for that. And unfortunately, I guess that's all we have time for today. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want me to do more of this, because I'm not gonna lie, I had fun researching for all this. So please leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications if you want to keep getting involved. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is Yugioh signing out.